Tonight, greetings, fellow travelers. As the week reaches its thrilling midpoint, we're broadcasting from the mountains of West Virginia. Embrace the spirit of adventure as you join us on this daring journey through the untamed wilderness of Let's Find Out with Diego. Bonus Overdrive Wednesday.
It's time to find out with Diego. Let's go. Ooh, yeah.
On this episode of Bonus Overdrive Wednesday, our guest is an author and a devoted enthusiast of interactive and cinematic entertainment with a particular affinity for video games like Mortal Kombat and Doom, and classic 80s films such as Ghostbusters and Big Trouble in Little China. These passions often serve as a backdrop to his writings, which spans the intense genres of horror, science fiction, and thrillers. All this plus more. Please welcome a new friend and first-time guest, author, Harry Carpenter. Harry, my friend, welcome to Bonus Overdrive Wednesday.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
It is, man. And I'll tell you this. This is why I reached out to you. Because anybody who's such a big fan of Big Trouble in Little China as I am, I have to have on the show.
You know, like the Pork Chop Express always says.
You know, I'll tell you, I'll watch anything that's got Kurt Russell in it. Minus that, I don't know. I think I've seen everything he's been on. I even love Captain Ron. Highly underrated.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's we tried to forget about that one, but that's not bad. It's not a bad one. Even the Santa Claus one that he did. The second one was kind of, but you know, the first one was my God, he kills it. He slays in anything he touches. Guardians of the Galaxy, he's a whole planet that eats people. It's fantastic. My God, is there anything he doesn't touch that isn't good?
I don't think there's such thing exists. I mean, anything. Although I grew up with Kurt Russell with eye patches, so because my favorite movie of all time, Escape from New York.
What a cornball movie, though. Like, if you look at it outside of the context of nostalgia and just like pure like 80s, very early 90s fever dream, it's a man, what a movie. But it was so good in its own way that, I mean, my God, Metal Gear Solid was inspired by that movie because that's Solid Snake. You know, he's named Snake. He's got an eye patch. All of these things transcended over into like video game world. So I mean, it's not that terrible, but it's one of those fun movies you just got to sit back and enjoy. You're not here to pick it apart. You're just here for the ride, and that's what it is, man. It's a ride.
Yeah, you're just ruining it for yourself. But I mean, it's almost, to me, is a perfect movie. I
You
saw
got,
it
you
in
got Chef with the chandelier headlights. Isn't that what it is? He's got little chandeliers like hung up off the. That's what I said. Chef. I called him by his South Park name.
Did.
But yeah, Isaac Hayes. My God, what a cast, and just weird stuff. Like just the visuals, dude.
Yeah, the Duke of New York. You gotta love it.
Oh man.
So we'll definitely get into that because it seems that, you know, kind of like me, a lot of these movies we grew up with inspire us in a certain way. Now, when did you begin writing? Is this something you started in your early days, or something that's became an adult?
So writing the way I do now, this is more recent. But I've been writing since I was a kid. I was never good at math, still not good at math. I jokingly tell everybody, they're like, well, how much would this be? And I'm like, I don't know, dude. I do words. I don't do numbers. So I wrote short stories, and some of them I've tracked down. I got like binders of just, I say hot garbage, but one of the short stories that I wrote, and I'm taking a wild stab, like 6th, 7th grade. It was a sci-fi story, and it was a couple of like mercenaries or something. They get attacked by some monsters, you know, the cliche, like I say, the 90s story that existed, you know, the Starship Troopers, what have you, you know, what was hot then. I almost want to say that became what my new sci-fi series is. So there was a lot of stuff from the back in the day that I almost unintentionally reimagined or re-envisioned. But I didn't start writing. Like I'm going to use the term loosely, professionally. I didn't start taking it serious and making it a job until probably, 2016, 2017. So it's been about a decade, roughly.
That's a pretty good long time. And now, how many books have you released since then?
Woo. What are we at now? 10? 10 or
My
11?
word.
Maybe I was putting out about 1 or 2 a year, give or take, depending on what the book was and if I was banging them out or if I was. The pandemic slowed me down. 2020, I actually didn't put out a book for almost 2 whole years
Wow.
because I was co-writing a book with another guy, which ended up coming out, I think, late 2022. But there's this nice long gap. This book called Chemical Burns. I wrote with another author, Tim Baldwin. It was fun, but we're working remotely. We're Google Docsing. We're Zooming. We're doing just about everything we can do. And that's a hard way to write because you can't bounce off of each other. You gotta schedule things up and really tiptoe around the situation.
No, true story. I mean, talking
Yeah,
about
man.
because 2020 slowed everybody down. And in fact, that's actually when I began and got into the whole podcast thing because straight back and forth to work, there's nowhere else to go. Everything was shut
Yeah.
down, right? So you get creative. You talk about these binders, and the listeners only you can see, but the listeners won't be able. I got binder 1, binder 2, binder 3, binder 4. So I'm always writing some sort of ideas that pop in my head.
Yeah.
And at work, I buy my own sticky pads, but I got sticky pads full of everything in case it hits me. I write it down. So
Absolutely.
if we're gonna go back in time to when these ideas first started popping up for you, in what genre of sci-fi and horror did you grow up with?
So the stuff I grew up with, we talking about like movies or like writing or just whatever, shotgun blast, anything catches.
Anything catches.
All right. So if we're looking at like, if we're going with movies, dude, I grew up with Aliens. I grew up with Starship Troopers, Ghostbusters. Um, I don't know if I think it's sci-fi. Big Trouble in Little China. We brought that up. I think
Yeah.
it's sci-fi. It's like a sci-fi action, fantasy maybe. It's a weird category for that. I don't know where to put that movie. But stuff in those lines. I grew up with Jurassic Park. Just the hits. I'd say it was more science. I was more science fiction. So my stuff was aliens and the only good bug is a dead bug versus the Jason Voorheeses and Michael Myerses. They weren't as prominent for me.
Yeah, kind of same way with me. And I can appreciate a good horror movie, but I was a big sci-fi geek, and I probably predate you for a good number of years. I grew up with original Battlestar Galactica, Buck Rogers, and then later down the line when these cartoons started coming out. I mean, Thundercats the original, that's sci-fi. He-Man is like a fantasy sci-fi. So then along
Yeah.
comes V comes in 83, 84. So it's hard for me not to love sci-fi.
Right on. Yeah, V especially. Yeah. V was I mean, for its time, that was that, not to say a game-changing show, but like it was when I think people started to pay attention to sci-fi because prior to that, sci-fi really was like that really niche. You had your Doctor Who's, your Star Treks, and you had to be a Trekkie to get into Trek. But then when you started to get into V and then the shows that followed, people started to kind of look at this stuff and go, "Oh, okay, this is a little. I get it. I get it." And then they found out there's some action. They found out that it's same crap, different story. You're getting the same beats that you get any other story, whether it's an action story with Schwarzenegger and the world's biggest machine gun, or if it's a rom-com. The beats are still hit the same way, except now we're in outer space or something.
Yes, and then, I kind of using the word game changer. That might be true because NBC at that time it was kind of squeaky clean kind of network,
Yeah.
and V was kind of violent for its time, and then the whole scenes where the skins are being ripped off and you see the reptiles underneath, and you start seeing that one scene where, oh gosh, where a bum on somewhere near a dumpster, one of the aliens was hunting down some dinner, turned out to be a rat, and you kind of see Now, no CGI back then. It might have been like a
Yeah.
claymation thing, but the jaw just opened. It swallows the whole rat whole. You seen that
Yeah.
on TV? I was like, wow.
And that's on TV, man. Like, and
Yeah.
now we got, I mean, stuff that you see on TV now. These kids are like, "Oh, that's whack, man." You're like, you weren't there though. Like,
That's
you
right.
had to be there when it hit the scene. Like the stuff that you see now, like, my God, we had South Park and Family Guy and all this stuff, and then all these, Walking Deads and Game of Thrones on TV. It desensitized you. You had to be there in the beginning when you were just, it captured you. It held you because you're like, what am I watching? Now you mentioned V, but I think so in terms of like movies for its time that really went way too far. Fire in the Sky is probably, if we're talking about like weird otherworldly things, Fire in the Sky was probably the one that I think I watched twice, and that was as a courtesy watch the second time because you only need to watch that movie once. Uh,
Yeah.
it's good. It's a high quality anal probe movie. That's I don't know how else to describe it, but it's one of those movies where you watch it and you're like, dude, like this isn't a B movie. This isn't something that somebody made in their garage on a $40 budget. This is some next level. We had money allegedly based on a true story type of situation. So yeah, like I think the 70s and 80s were the turning point for some of this programming. We went from, Archie Bunker to some, aliens and lizards eating rats and whatnot.
Yeah. And it's a natural progression, I think, because kind of like look, hard rock became heavy metal, which dominated
Yeah.
the 80s. It kind of just matched the attitude of that era. And then you
Yeah,
jump
yeah.
into the 90s, which, metal kind of went away. Grunge came in. Death metal also started reaching the heights. The moods change. The movies change. Sci-fi change.
Yeah.
Video games change. And, I know that, was it Mortal Kombat? Was that early 90s? I believe,
Dude,
right?
that was depending on like which release of the first Mortal Kombat, but I think it really hit like 92. And then you had the consoles all hitting. Like it came out in the right time because it was such a low bit rate game that it could jump over to it wouldn't have survived on Atari, which would have been the predecessor. It wouldn't have survived on the NES, which was just a notch above Atari. But you had the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis just hit the scene, and we're doing some crazy stuff. So you could get what I think made that game a lot of fun was it was live motion capture. And I got to meet Carlos and the rest of the actors that portrayed the characters in the original Mortal Kombat video game. And Master Pacina and the rest of those guys are just, it was next level. The many hats that they had to wear. They were the sound guys, the art guys. I mean, you're looking at, today, we're like, oh, wow, a small studio. They have 28 people. And that's a small studio today. Back in the day, it was like 4 guys in a garage. I think that was Atari, right? It was like just like 2 guys,
Right.
maybe 1 guy. I don't know. But yeah, just times have changed. But yeah, Mortal Kombat, man, that came out, I think, in the right time because even after the movies hit, because I think we were already hitting like Mortal Kombat 2, pushing Mortal Kombat 3, the game, by the time the films came out. But we were in that era of the Jean-Claude Van Damme, the Steven Seagals, were just
Yeah.
punching people a lot phase of filmmaking. Mortal Kombat's perfect for that.
Yes. And then, well, speaking of Jean-Claude, he was in Street Fighter, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. The only good thing about that movie is Raul Julia, because he gave it the Michael Caine and Muppets level of effort. It was a top tier project, and he gave it 110%. Everybody else, it's a very confusing. It's a action movie that you could watch and be entertained, but don't watch it because you are a Street Fighter fan. It has nothing to do with Street Fighter other than names.
You're absolutely right. I watched it. Like comparing to what you said earlier with Fire in the Sky, you only really need to watch it once.
Yeah.
If you want to watch it a second time, that's your own fault. Because
Oh, yeah.
I tried, and I love Jean-Claude. I watch anything, just like Kurt Russell. I'll watch whatever he's in.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. It's like, what's going on here?
How do you go from like fighting in the Kumite
Mm.
to whatever the hell was going on in Street Fighter? I can't even give you a coherent plot because there were 3 of them happening and not one of them was fulfilled. But they ended it with a bunch of explosions, a freeze frame, high five or what have you, where they all did their signature victory poses. I rewatched it not long ago, so it's fresh, and I'm like, God, why did I do that?
I'm gonna have to do it, man. And I don't blame Jean-Claude. He's probably giving his
I
scripts. It
do.
looks good.
No, I blame
Yeah,
him because he was so coked out of his mind that he.
allegedly, right?
I don't think this was allegedly. I think he was definitely. Um, but yeah, he turned down. So my favorite thing is Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat was originally based on Jean-Claude's Bloodsport character. They asked him to play Johnny Cage, and he told him no. I'll tell you where to stick it, and took off. Mortal Kombat to me it's almost a perfect video game adaptation because it doesn't try to be anything it's not. We're not here to give you this deep rooted emotional story. We're here to say, hey, anyway, here's these human people from Earthrealm. They're going to go fight, and then they fight. Roll credits. It doesn't do anything else. There's very minimal love story. We got to have a little bit of subplot to keep things interesting, but overall, it's just their motivations from the video game. He said no to that, and then 2 years later, jumps over and plays what? He played Guile, I think it was, the American soldier, the red-blooded American from Kansas, I think, Guile, with the thickest accent I have ever heard.
Maybe from Louisiana.
Oh boy, if he had put on a Southern accent, like do what everybody else does, like in The Walking Dead, just whisper out a Southern accent, just make it work.
I mean, I've been living in the mountains of West Virginia for quite a while now. I'm developing the twang, man. It's okay. It happens, right?
Dude, it happens. So I grew up in Baltimore City, so my favorite thing was I watched John Bernthal in We Own This City. Came out I don't know, 2-3 years ago. The events just happened like 4 or 5 years ago. His accent, I paused and I looked at my wife and I said, I'm gonna stop this right here because I want you to know how award-winning that was. And she says, what? And I said, you didn't hear that. If you're from around here, there's a stretch of road up in North Baltimore. I'm gonna say it the appropriate outsider way. It's Bel Air Road. And if you're from around here, you're like, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and take the car about 20 minutes and ride down Blair Road. It's Blair, like Blair Witch, Blair Road. It's one word and half the letters are still missing. So he said it. He said, yeah, we're up there at Blair Road. And I was like, he said Blair Road. 1,000,000 points to Bernthal. So I actually had to work to lose my accent. So you're gaining your twang. I had to work to lose it. But man, I can jump right into that dirty, nasty Dundalkian Han accent like nobody's business. It's great.
Oh, listen, when I first came to this country, I didn't know a lick of English, right?
Yeah.
And I worked very hard to try to lose my Spanish accent, right?
Yeah.
I did pretty good. And after a while, it's like, you know what? It's too much work. Whatever happens. But now here we go with the mountain talk. But anyway, it's a conversation for another day. So we're gonna get definitely now to your writing because you incorporate a lot of elements in your story writing from your own experiences, right?
Yeah. Especially with the sci-fi series that I mentioned, Fubar. What I do with Fubar and all the movies that we've been talking about, that my passion lies with them because there's so many nods and references to them. Some of them are a little bit more subtle than others. But I spent some time over in Iraq. I did some time in the Army. And I wanted to kind of write about an experience where I didn't want to write the soldier experience where it's, the Tom Clancy story, a couple of soldiers, Black Hawk Down type, true to life. I said, what if I just added monsters? And now we're fighting all these like sci-fi abominations from more or less my favorite movies and TV shows and video games. They're very similar to some of these creatures that, if you know me, you're like, wait a minute, wait, is that feels like something? And it's like, it kind of is something. Yeah, it was inspired by, such and such game, such and such movie. So it's a couple of soldiers in Iraq. They're just doing their day-to-day deployment. Monsters show up, wreck house, and decimate just about everybody that knows what they're doing. So our main cast of characters are the slackers, the guys that, kind of skirt by with their rifle accuracy, with their physical fitness, and now they have to be the main cast and be the, the super rah Tom Clancy hero that you're wanting to have. But they encounter all these different monsters, and one of my favorites is in book 2. And one of the things that the characters do is, as they encounter the monsters, they name them. So if you see it and kill it, you get to call it. So they come out with all different kind of creature names. Like some of them are Hellbug, and that's a pretty over the top name. Then you got other ones that are the big and nasty, because it's just a giant nasty critter. One of the ones that one of the characters, Tobias, encounters, it spits acid. So he takes it out and he says, "That one's a Ridley." And somebody said, "Ridley? What? Why are we calling? No, we're not. No, nobody's signed off on this." And he's like, "Why would it be a Ridley?" And he says, "Well, dude, I'm not going to say I'm surrounded by Scots, because nobody's coming." So it's a nice nod to Ridley Scott, who did Alien, because of the acid blood with this spitting acid. It's one of those like really roundabout ways to get there, but if you know the references, you're like, okay, Ridley Scott, spitting acid, I got you. So it's xenomorph like, and they kind of get into that. So I kind of do that with Fubar, and there's a lot of the different nods to my sci-fi favorites. Like you mentioned in the beginning, like Doom and Starship Troopers, Alien, all of these things are just heavily inspirational to the story.
A lot of good little Easter eggs in there for everybody to say, I get what you're saying there.
Yeah. And they make references to some of the properties. They're, I think one of them says the only good bug is a dead bug. And somebody says, "Calm down there, Rico." That kind of thing. Like they make in references, because the characters themselves are all like sci-fi nerds. We all play video games. We all play, the same stupid cheeseball 90s movies. We're all into the same stuff. So why wouldn't we all make these same dumb references? So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of not quite fourth wall breaking, but what I do like is that story exists in a version of our own universe where, zombies are real, shoot them in the head as an option. They don't just go, he seems sick, I should go put my arm in front of his mouth. The cliche things that we have to. Seeing a zombie origin movie is almost as exhausting as seeing Uncle Ben die for the 40th time in Spider-Man. We finally hit that level where we're done showing you Krypton getting blown up. We're done showing you Martha and Thomas waiting in the alley. We're not going to insult your intelligence. Let's move on. So that's the world that I wanted to exist in, where we don't have to establish what is a zombie. Like, we're already like, dude, I saw movies like this. Let's go for the head. That's kind of the world that I'm building. It's kind of tongue in cheek. It's fun. You're laughing. It's intense. People die. There's explosions. I just like writing super fun, action-packed, seat of your pants books.
And with all these references that you make now, when you start actually meeting the readers and you do the meet and greets and all that at the conventions, are they kind of digging what you're doing?
Yeah. So it's fun because there's some references, because I do it in a lot of my books. I like to shout out in some way or another, things that I really love. TV shows, movies, video games, music. Trying to pull that all together. And I've had people come up and just go, "Dude, what you did with this, was this supposed to be this?" And one of the guys was asking me if he said something about one of my creatures, and he's like, "Was that kind of inspired by Starship Troopers?" And I was like, if it wasn't, I'd be shocked, because if you pulled it out If I'm going to tell you, you're going to pull out this reference right now, you know it's what you're calling out, because there's no. I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm not tiptoeing around it. It is what it is. Like, if you think it's Starship Troopers, yeah, it probably was. Let's be honest. If you thought it was Doom, it's probably Doom. But that's been my favorite thing, is to talk to people, and they love that, but it also feels like its own universe and own world. And I think my biggest level of feedback was characters that I kill off. People get really, really upset about it. Like a Game of Thrones level upset. Like, I just killed Sean Bean in the first season level upset. Sorry, spoiler. It's been out for like 20 years. and Bruce Willis was dead the whole time. So there we go.
Oh crap,
Jeez.
man, you got me on that. But but you know what? There's no greater compliment I would say for an author than somebody having these types of emotions and giving you their experience, not only reading your book, but that feedback. Oh my goodness, that's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah. So what I like is, okay, you can come up to me and say, dude, I read your book and it was fantastic. Okay. You know, like, that's good. I'm cool with that. But when you come at me and you say, hey, why did you kill off Mr. Smith? I loved him. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear some, you know, a little bit of fire. I want to hear some passion about something that I created in this fictional universe. And I have no character named Mr. Smith, but you're that upset what I took from you, because that character development was written well enough that it grabbed you. It pulled you right in, and you needed to go for that ride. And I think that's what I'm hoping with my next book. I went even further than just a couple of my army buddies getting fictionalized. What if I unfictionalized and just exaggerated? And I'm a huge fan of This Is the End. Have you seen that movie?
Not yet.
It happened a while ago. It was God, I'm trying to think of like everybody that's in there, but it's like Seth Rogen and
Had the British fella in it, right?
No, it was Seth Rogen and the rest of his little posse. Michael Cera was in it at some point. It's all of those, like, the stoner movie actors, and the rapture happens, and everybody goes up to heaven except for all of them, because they're just awful, terrible people. And they have to survive in this like post-apocalyptic Earth that is now like inhabited by demons and stuff. It's such a stupid movie. It's silly. It's funny. I thought it took a lot of thought, and I love that idea. So I always try to incorporate something like that into my books. So I just put together one called Nightmares Unbound, which, because I run a book festival myself, I attend a lot selling my books. I thought, what if a convention was run by a psychopath and tried to kill everybody inside? And that was kind of my overall arcing premise was, what if a convention tried to kill everybody inside? Attendees, vendors, everything, like celebrity guests, Elijah Wood and them are in danger. Whoever happens to be the guest of honor at the events, everybody's in danger. Nobody is safe. So that was kind of my premise that I circled around. So that This Is the End moment for me was, what if I have me and my author buddies, like just me? It's an over exaggerated slightly version of a lot of us, because I don't know that most of us probably wouldn't react the way that we did in this book, but I'd like to think that we'd be somewhat heroic. But it was just such a fun book to write. And that's the other thing that helps too, is when it's fun to write, like you come at it with a whole different passion. You're ready to like pitch it to people. If there's a book that's just a chore and you're like, God, thank God I got that done. You're not going to be as passionate to talk to people about it or push it in front of people. So like you said, when people come up and talk to me about the books, I'm excited to talk to people about this next one.
And that next one, because I see I'm on your site now. There's one for available, actually, for September 12th in pre-order.
That is Nightmares Unbound. If you're looking at it, it's a bright red color. That red is it's a prominent theme in the book. Obviously, blood. That's the low hanging fruit. But the lighting in the building, everything is red. And if you're looking at the book cover, it's that book cover is actually the back of me at a convention. Like this is a photo that we put together. So I thought it would be kind of fun to be at a Comic Con that's getting set up. I set up my table and then I was like, quick, get behind me, take a couple of pictures. And we ended up using a cutout of me and some raw, clean backdrops, and that became the cover. So it's in a convention center. It's the back of me, and that jersey is bloody by design, not by effects or an artist or anything. I'm pre-covered in blood. Isn't that great? I bring my own blood to the party.
Hey, method acting, you gotta love it, man. But with you mentioned earlier, so you're doing your own book festivals. You said earlier, correct?
Yeah.
So let's not skip over that. So what is it called, and how you have it every year? Is it something new?
Yeah. So with Nightmares Unbound, the release party where it actually hits shelves and you can buy it, download it, etc. That actually releases at my book festival proper on the 13th of September. It's a Fright Reads Book Festival. Been running that for 5 years now. It's kind of a thing that came out of the pandemic. Like you said, the podcasting hit the ground running in 2020. So did the idea of a book festival. And I tell everybody the origin is it was born out of spite, which is how most things should be created. To spite your enemies, you make it. So I actually applied for a book festival, a horror book festival similar to my own now. And I said, all right, well, I have these 3 horror books. And the lady sent me an email back and said, oh, these aren't what we're looking for. And I'm just like, it is a horror book festival. I don't know what else you're looking for. I got monsters, demons, I got alien creatures, I got people getting ripped apart. Like, I don't know what more you want from me. I got a book about a serial killer. Like, I'm pretty horror. But she said no without really a rhyme or reason. This doesn't fit our book festival. And I was like, okay. But I got mad about that. Like, I got mad. I got petty. I said, you've seen Futurama, the robot Bender? He gets mad and says, fine, I'll do my own with hookers and blackjack. Matter of fact, forget that. That was my mentality with the festival. Fine, I'm going to make my own book festival with hookers and blackjack. So it's funny, we almost held it at a casino 2 years ago. And we did have Linnea Quigley as a special guest who was in Chainsaw Hookers. So allegedly, full circle, we almost had the hookers and blackjack anyway. But we created that. I sat around with some friends, and in 2021, when we could actually come out and play, we had year 1, and we probably had about 100 people come through those doors, 20-ish vendors, and that might be being generous. We had a blast. It killed, and then we came back for 4 more to follow. Spawned off a spin-off event. Like any good television show gets a spin-off.
Yes.
The book festival wasn't enough, so we needed more. So we started running halfway to Halloween in the springtime to get you your 6-month fix. And it's just been, we're coming up on it now in a couple of weeks. Like, it's like, everybody's like, are you excited? No, I'm terrified. I'm having anxiety attacks. Are you excited for the day? No, I'm excited for that Sunday night. I'm excited for when the event's over and everybody goes home. Then I can breathe. But this year's going to be massive, though. So we're not only doing a new venue. We moved to the Howard County Fairgrounds, which is huge. So when I jokingly say so much room for activities, I'm not kidding. There is a disgustingly creepy echo when the building is empty. You get a cave echo. You can yell out, hello, hello. hello. And I'm just like, wow, we need to put people in here now. We have a lot of room for stuff. We're gonna fill that space with the Ecto 1, a DeLorean, the Jurassic Park Jeep, all the things we were talking about earlier that we love. I literally just book stuff that I think is cool and I want to hang out with. We're gonna have some mermaids in there. I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff, but we'll have a film festival. We're gonna be playing some indie films. You get to sit there, watch somebody's movie, and then have a Q&A after. And then we have a bunch of celebrity guests. I don't know if you've been able to check it out, but at Fright Reads, we have Trauma Films' own Lloyd Kaufman. I'm sure you've seen Toxic Avenger, Nuke 'Em High,
Absolutely.
Bloody Hook. I mean, my God, the king of just cheeseball horror that has no right to be that good. It's good stuff. And Toxic Avenger is one of those anomalies that it ended up being such a product that they spun off cartoons, action figures. It's getting a reboot soon. I don't know. I think it's like August, September or something. I don't know. I'll see it when it comes out, but I'm trying to track it, but time is a construct right now and I have no idea what year it is, let alone what day. But it's one of those things like Trauma Films. People know Trauma. They may not think they know it, but they know that. And we'll have Lloyd, one of the creators of Trauma, out there, as well as Jane Jensen, who was in Tromeo and Juliet. And I get raised eyebrows with that too. And I go, Tromeo and Juliet, I've never heard of it. And I was like, but I bet you heard of her cast members. You got these two guys, Sean and James Gunn. Maybe know of them from a couple of movies that have come out. Not nothing big, but Superman and Guardians of the Galaxy. Nothing big though.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we have that. We have Freddy Krueger's mom. We have Eric Stolhansky from Super Troopers. All of these people are just awesome people that I want to hang out with. Like I'm just looking forward to just getting 20 minutes with them and just talk with them and have a good time. These are movies that I grew up watching. These are just awesome people that I think are funny, talented, and I hope everybody else finds the same.
And it definitely will. Now, for the listeners of Bonus Overdrive Wednesday that want to learn more about you, your books, your events, and Fright Reads coming up here in a few weeks, where can they go find this information?
So for me, it's hcarpenterwriter.com. You can also look me up on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you buy your books. The new book, Nightmares Unbound, does come out mid-September. It is pre-orderable through just about every bookstore you can find. And if it's not, you better tell them that they should have it. The book festival is frightreads.com. On frightreads.com, you can see all of our special guests, the over 100 and some odd authors that we have, everything from horror, science fiction, fantasy, thriller, paranormal romance, you name it, we probably have it. You can also find all of the vendors that make really neat stuff, everything from fudge to freaky 3D prints. All of that's in there, the details about the film festival, all of that, as well as buying tickets on frightreads.com.
Excellent. And we'll put the links in the show description for sure for that. Well, my friend, thank you so much for joining us here on Bonus Overdrive Wednesday. And I'm looking forward to reading the new book and having you back later this year, because I know by then, seeing that you've already written 10, you're probably going to have something in the works or out by then.
I've already so what's funny is with this story, because the format of how it happens, I was talking to one of the authors who's the second character in the book, and we came up with book 2 and 3's plot line, just joking around, and it works, and I think it'll take and people will enjoy it. So I think we figured it out.
I knew it, man. So bring you back, and we're gonna have a good time. Well, and you know what? We're gonna devote a good amount of time. We're gonna talk some great sci-fi movies, because I have some. I recently discovered, looking through my bins, some DVDs. Man, I'm gonna bring them out. I'm gonna let you know. Have you seen some of these movies? I bet you have. I think I just pulled out Ice Pirates about 20 minutes ago.
Oh my God. Ice Pirates. You own that?
I do. Hold on. If I play the Jeopardy music in the background while I search for it, you know what? I might have something similar, but I don't. But I do have this.
What do we got?
Krull and Space Hunter, and I can't read the rest of it because I don't have my right glasses on. But
Yeah.
Krull.
Krull was so it's funny because I had played the Atari game. I'm going to take you way back. I played the Atari game of that before I even knew that there was a movie. So I already knew about the little the blade and all that stuff that they're using and the creatures that you're encountering because of some, like, I don't know, 2-bit video game. One of the very few movie tie-ins that kind of sort of was playable. We don't talk about ET, but
you read my mind. It's in a landfill
Yeah.
somewhere.
Not anymore. Everybody pilfered that thing and put it on eBay for a lot of money. But I learned about Krull, the video game, before I found out there was a movie, and I watched the movie, and middle of the movie, it clicked. It's a fun movie, and I haven't seen that in probably 20 years or more. But it's one of those ones that's up there with, like, Beastmaster and all those, not to say all those cheeseball sci-fi, but they had a good run of just these, like, over-the-top, action-packed, romance-laden action stories that were in a fantastical universe, like that, or Big Trouble in Little China, which isn't in such a fantastical universe but has all the same elements. Like, that stuff was hot in the 80s. Loved it.
And it still works. And then you mentioned Beastmaster, and I'm gonna leave you off with this because that was probably one of the first ones I watched when I was a little guy. But Mark Singer, man, knocked it out the park.
Man.
And, I even watched Beastmaster 2 through the portal of time. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've circled back to it. I'm going back through right now. I'm not going back as far, but I decided I wanted to watch Austin Powers. So, it's a movie that mostly holds up. It has some words that we have phased out of society, but overall, as a movie, I was still laughing at the gags. The jokes were great. I got to go back to the 80s again and watch some of those, but I've been on a 90s kick right now, just trying to watch, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Austin Powers. The other one was what was it? God, I'm drawing a blank here. It was I could see the name. Event Horizon. I was like, it's bouncing around. I could see the name. Event Horizon. I don't know if that's one that you've ever encountered, but it's the guy that did the Resident Evil movies and Mortal Kombat.
I saw that movie. It's a very interesting pace, but it works.
The problem with that movie was the studio was too involved with it, and they cut a lot of things out because they said nobody want to see this. Fun fact, we all wanted to see it. We want to see the weird, nasty, psychological stuff. We want to go on that ride, but I think that they ended up losing the negatives of the movie, and we'll just never get the full luster of a remaster that we so deserve. It's a shame, but that's one I would absolutely push to watch. If you want to see the guy from Jurassic Park lose his mind and cut off his eyelids, boy, do I have the movie for you.
2 thumbs up, my friend. Well, hey, thank you so much for being on Bonus Overdrive Wednesday, and I'll catch you at Fright Reads.
Yeah. See you in a couple of minutes, really. That's what it feels like. See you then.
See you there, my friend.
All content on this broadcast is a property of Diego the Podcaster and is served directly from our servers with no modification, redirects, or rehosting. All celebrity impersonators are paid performers. The impersonated celebrities do not endorse or promote any views or opinions expressed by our guests, Diego the Podcaster, or Bonus Overdrive Wednesday. The information shared on Bonus Overdrive Wednesday is provided on an as-is basis, with no guarantees of completeness, accuracy, usefulness, or timeliness.